Hello, and welcome back to Tommy's Top Picks Weekly Roundup Podcast, episode 76. I'm your host, Tommy, joined by John.
How's it going?
We have a special guest this week.
We do.
It's Riddlerman. Riddlerman is here. Say hi.
Hey, how's everybody doing today?
We're doing good. It's a good day to podcast. It's a Sunday.
Always.
We got new Flesh and Blood news. We got crazy rumors. We got Lorcana and Upper Deck battling each other out for money.
Supremacy.
For money. And Lord of the Rings magic craziness for money. So let's get into it. Let's start with Riddlerman. For those of you who don't know, Riddlerman, tell us about yourself. You have a YouTube channel. You talk about Flesh and Blood market updates and market stuff.
Yeah, that's kind of how I got into YouTube. I was doing box breaks, just opening some of my own sealed product, but I had spent a lot of time just searching the markets, looking for deals myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to the point where I was like, well, maybe I could just show people what I'm looking for and why. And if there's a little bit of background, I've spent 20 plus years investing my own money in trading, and whether it's stocks, options, whatever, just boring mutual funds, all of it. And I was trying to apply a lot of those same principles for just kind of financial awareness into that market, looking for good deals, cards that I thought were had the potential to increase and that I could buy for a better price. And that's kind of like changing, shifting all the time throughout the seasons. Anyway, so I was just doing those videos, and I actually only knew how to do them live. So I was doing them live, and then I was trying to download my own videos, edit them, and then upload them to another channel that I was running. And it just turned out that people started showing up for the live and started chatting, and I was like, well, you know what? If this works, man. Let's just go with it. So
yeah, absolutely.
that was the kind of the genesis of the channel, and started growing from there. And my main focus was the market stuff. But now, just like speaking with you two gentlemen, I really kind of want to branch out a little bit and just kind of meeting a ton of people in the community, get to know them, share their stories as well. So
yeah,
that's been a big focus.
That's definitely a blessing of the Flesh and Blood community, is that it's awesome. It's full of really great people.
Absolutely.
But cool. Yeah. It's funny. We were hesitant to do lives, and then we struggled with our first couple of lives. And then, so it's almost like you worked backwards. You started with the hard way.
Well, I started live stuff many years ago. Many years ago. I even was the founder of live streaming organization for Twitch called the Goonie Community, where we promoted a lot of different diverse streamers from all around the world playing all different types of video games. So I had a lot of background and experience with live stuff. And that's why, again, I was comfortable doing it. So I was like, I'll just shoot these out live and figure out the editing part later. And honestly, I never figured out the editing part. So I apologize if you watch a video. Don't expect much. It's not very shock and awe. It's just more, hopefully, content and value through that, through the information.
Yeah, I mean, I only recently found out you could edit video, so that's why we never edit our video, because I didn't know you could.
Is that real?
No, it's because I'm lazy. But I did make our intros. I did recently make us intros.
Nice.
So that's been fun for some of our things.
Yeah, I have a good friend who does a lot of my graphic design stuff, and he just really supports it. And so he sends me these awesome videos or edits, and I'm like, I'm taking it.
Yeah,
put it in.
Nice. I mean, that's kind of what I do for my day job, is I do graphics and videos and stuff like that. And so when it comes to doing it for the channel, I'm just like, more work.
Yeah,
but
true.
At least it gets to be fun, and I get to use fun art, and I am my own approval. So
yeah.
Well, besides John, when he tells me we're not allowed to link our OnlyFans in the link tree. If you're curious, we do have an OnlyFans link in our link tree. If you want to support the channel, there's hard times out there. Go check out.
I have been there. I will say you're going to be shocked.
Yeah, Riddlerman checked out the link tree.
I did check it out,
and checked out the OnlyFans to support.
I'm gonna do it next time when I go to bed.
There we go. It'll be it'll put you right to sleep.
That's right. That's true.
But we're here to talk about a bunch of Flesh and Blood stuff. We got new heroes. We have their text.
That's crazy.
We have the new Prism Vynnset. What do we think?
John, go first.
I am baffled and confused. We had a pretty decent conversation about it in our Discord, and you guys know I'm not like the biggest player I play, but I'm not like competitive or anything like that. And I don't fully get it. Vincent feels really hard to make anything work out of it that's significant or combo-y or very interesting, but maybe I'm missing something, or maybe some cards need to be revealed. I don't know. What do you think? Let's
I
start with Vincent and then we'll move over to Prism.
Yeah, I definitely think there are cards that need to be revealed, but also I'm just not very familiar with the shadow characters. Like, just because no one really got into Levia in our locals, no one really got into Chain until recently in Blitz. But like, I've played against them, I know them, but it's one of those things where I don't have a deep knowledge, and so I don't have a deep knowledge on the shadow cards, especially the random shadow cards that never saw play, right? So some of
Yeah.
those in Monarch could have been set up for Vynnset and work that I just don't know them. And as I was
Well,
actually going through and sorting cards recently, I was sorting Monarch and I was looking at some of them and I don't see it, but there's still this set, Dust Till Dawn is so big that I think that there is room for Vynnset to get enough cards to build an architect around
sure.
between Shadow and Shadow Runeblade.
I will say this though, the character is really well built from what I can tell so far, because if you follow the lore of the Demonastery and kind of tapping into that shadow power, it is almost like the more pain you inflict on yourself, the stronger your access to that shadow energy, so to speak, exists. Right? That's
Mhm.
kind of the basis of it. And some of them, to be able to summon the demonic creatures, they etch like the runes all over their body, right? So
Mhm.
Viserai has it etched into his bones when he was basically reincarnated, and Chain has them etched all over as well. If you notice, Vincent doesn't have them etched over because I think that she's so in tune with inflicting pain on herself that she can kind of tap into this shadow energy, and she has that new dimensional rift kind of
Yeah.
gateway type power. I think it's a perfect. I can see her build, and I agree with John. I just don't think we have enough cards to really know how she's meant to be played. I think we're going to get demon allies personally,
Yeah.
That would be cool.
that can be pulled and summoned. But I think the idea is that
I mean,
the
we do
more
with the
pain you inflict on yourself, the stronger you're going to be throughout the game. But that's that trade off, right? Shadow always has this trade off
yeah.
of do you want to risk it that much? You might kill yourself to tap into all that power, or do you just kind of like balance it out? It'll be cool to see the best players, and hopefully, honestly, hopefully we have these Michael Hamiltons and Fangs and stuff like that try these new heroes because their Oldham is LL'd. That would be
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
cool to see them
Yeah.
try to tap into this potential, because I'm not the guy to tap into the potential.
No, no.
I'll just talk about it.
It's very cool though. I mean, from a flavor standpoint, I'm 1000% with you. I love the flavor, the concept. Obviously, paying to make magic work, right?
Mhm.
Like that
Yep.
totally fits. I love it. I just when I'm looking at the mechanics, I'm like, what does this even work with? I don't understand. Like, because I know Chain okay. Like I played Chain for a little bit, and I know shadow cards and banish zones and that, and it doesn't really feel like it works super well with it the way it's set up. But you just said something that triggered for me. If it's a demon that has an effect every time you take damage or every time you inflict damage on yourself, X happens. That
Could
would be
be.
kind of interesting, and it also makes Blood Debt another interesting mechanic to work with.
Oh man, what if it
Right.
was like
That would
deal
be
arcane
cool.
damage every time you take damage while
Yeah,
this ally's on?
yeah,
Oh,
every time
oh,
you get damage to yourself, deal an arcane damage or
yeah,
something. Yeah, something like that. Oh man. Yeah, okay.
nuts.
I'm in. I like the
That'd
idea.
be
We'll
cool.
see.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think the the win con is obviously going to be around the hero, right? Like the rune chant, the damage can't
Mhm.
be prevented.
Yeah.
Yep,
So
Well,
exactly.
presumably, yeah.
guaranteed damage, right? So that's your lethal win con. And so how big can you make that? Is this the return of Runeblade OTK?
No, because it's only once, right? Well, I guess it's whenever you play a non, you may pay one if
Rune
you do
chant
the
effect.
next rune chant effect. So,
But when you pay one, you're also creating a rune chant with your Flail of Agony, right?
Yeah.
So you're basically paying two to have unpreventable damage through rune chant, right? Is that the idea?
Two
I think
health.
that's the idea. Yeah,
The 2 for 1 doesn't make sense unless
exactly. That's
unless
why.
there's something else there to tie it together.
Yeah, there's something we're missing. I
Like,
can't wait
what
to
if
see what it
they
is.
have like non-attacks that the next rune chant trigger deals 5 damage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Like, instead
true.
of
There
1, it
could be a
deals 5.
bigger. That's true. There could be
Like amplify the rune chant.
amplified rune chant or
Yeah.
something like a new type of rune chant. That's possible. That
'Cause
would
it
change
just
the way
says
this
yeah.
works.
Well, yeah, because currently there's only wizards. There aren't there. Is that true that there's only wizard effects cards that say, X arcane plus X kind of thing? So I believe it's only wizard that has
Correct, as
additional
far as I know.
arcane
Yeah.
or arcane dealt, so to speak. So it would be cool though if you could have some kind of effect, maybe a generic or something that allows increased arcane damage. You play that, and then you tap yourself for 2, but then you've amplified your arcane from your rune chant that can't be prevented by like Vambraces or something. And so all of a sudden, it's just this boom. There's 3 that you can't prevent.
Yeah, that's
I
an
don't know.
interesting.
I
Yeah.
mean,
don't know.
technically you could Sonata, but pitch a bunch of blues.
And it also says one key thing. I don't know if this is important. It says the next rune chant effect that would
Yeah,
deal
that's
damage
what I'm
this turn.
saying.
Are there
That's
different effects? Yeah, I don't
That's
know.
why.
Yeah.
That's what made me think that there might be other rune chant effects.
Like a new type of rune chant.
Yeah.
And if someone's gonna do it,
Mm.
Vynnset will, right?
But
Because
it does say create a rune
and
chant.
Viscerai are very sword like warrior types,
Mhm.
whereas she seems like she's a wizard, rune blade, as it were. So probably flinging a little bit more on the magic side.
Yeah.
We'll see.
That's a
Cool.
big point, though, because her weapon is not intended to attack the enemy, right? Her weapon isn't intended to attack herself to increase her power.
Yeah, basically pull a
Pretty
trigger.
obvious, right?
Yeah,
You're not going to be attacking for 1, right? I don't even know if you can attack. Once per turn action, pay 1 life, attack for 1.
yeah.
And then when it hits, right? I mean, are you going to block that 1 to block a rune chant effect if the rune chant effect is just going to do 1, right?
Maybe
just
it's
kinda,
like daggers. If it on hit, X happens.
yeah.
Like there are cards like your next weapon attack. If your next weapon attack hits, kind of like a
Yeah.
mix between warrior and assassin, where like you have the dagger where it's 1, but it's a choice of am I blocking that,
Yeah.
and then losing blocking potential later with assassin, or is this like I'm not blocking this, knowing that it's going to trigger something else, and I'm going to take more damage because I didn't block this 1. But
Yeah, with that
the flail doesn't
weapon,
have piercing, so armor
correct.
becomes a lot more useful.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's what I mean. Like, there's a lot of ways to stop the flail. The flail doesn't really do anything other than trigger the rune chance to go off.
Right,
That's why
what
I
we know
thought
of
she
so
was an
far.
OTK style,
Yeah.
because I was like, oh, this is a way you can automatically trigger your rune chance. You pay 1 life and all your rune chance go off. But this doesn't appear to be building that direction. But I could be wrong. I mean, there's cards we haven't seen yet. So
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's
We'll
still
see.
very early. We've only really seen the new specializations, which are super cool.
Oh, one thing that was noted in our Discord that I think a lot of people missed, it's a requirement to banish a card.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not optional. At the start of your turn, banish a card from your hand if
Yeah,
you
it's
do
not
create a
you
rune
may.
chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you are always playing with 1 card down. Now,
Mhm.
theoretically, if they're the cards that you can play from Banish Zone, right? The Blood Deck cards and stuff in Shadow, then that's not the end of the world. But it does create a dynamic about how you're going to play, and it also means you're making a rune chant every turn, pretty much guaranteed.
I think you just nailed the play entirely right there. You choose which card you banish. You banish the card you want to pull out that turn. You play other cards from hand that can allow you to draw from the banish zone or play
Yeah.
from the banish zone this turn, and that's your combo, right?
Yeah,
You're,
it triggers the combo
you're
off, and
constantly
then you have
cycling,
and then I had to
and then you play them for
block.
less per rune chant. Correct? Doesn't she have that card that for each rune chant you have, the banished creature from banish or whatever costs X less based on the number of rune chants? What's that card? Am I crazy?
That is a thing. It's the gate one rift something that was revealed. Yeah.
So that's the
Yeah.
play right there, isn't it?
Yeah, I think you're right. So she reduces. Interesting. Oh, that is interesting. I'm excited to see how all this comes together, because she's not what I thought.
Rune Gate. If you control
Rune Gate,
rune
yeah.
chants equal to or greater than the card's cost, you may play it from your banish zone without paying its resource cost. So
Yeah.
that's what it is. Rune gating. We're gonna see a lot of cards with rune gating, and that's the play right there.
Yeah.
Generate
Yeah.
rune chants to pull them right out of the banish zone for free.
And
Yeah.
do gain an extra arcane damage.
And you don't
Ooh.
lose the rune chants when you use them. Right?
And you can do the correct. Well, no, they'll pop a second they go off, but the go off is on attack. So yeah, but you could do the second part, right? So you can automatically get 1 through. Well, I don't know if that's worth it because it's still 1 for 1 life, but the non-attacks to pump up the number of rune chants you have before swinging from Banish Zone. So was it like Mauvrin Skies and all the ones that are just like create a bunch of rune chants so you can have 3 because it's equal to or greater than, right? It didn't say you can't just deduct, like you can't do a 3 and pay 2 into it and the rune chant pays a third. It says you have to have enough to cover the cost. So interesting. Some of those higher cost ones probably become more interesting with her.
Yeah. When you pull them out,
negating the cost.
Exactly.
Almost like a Zuri. Why you want
or
to?
do you let them sit in your banish zone, right, eating up your life, as blood debt, right, until you can pull them out later.
I hope there's a mechanic where she gets some bonus for losing life from blood debt, because it fits the theme, it fits the look, the whole style. If there's a demon you can pull out that basically feeds off her blood, like every time there's blood debt, it gets stronger or something. Like any reason, if they have it, that will be killer. That will be fun and very thematic. So.
Awesome.
Cool.
She's very much the health is a resource.
Yeah. Health is a resource for her.
A very fast dwindling one.
Yeah, exactly. So what about our girl Prism? I know Tommy loves Prism so much.
Yeah, I have no opinions. Prism and I aren't friends. We never were.
What do you think, Riddler?
To not be.
About Prism?
Yeah,
I think everybody and their mom are gonna be playing Prism.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have much interest. I'm gonna enjoy watching it, and I do think that those Marvel Angels are up on par with the dragons for me. They look beautiful, and I can't wait to see them in person in Marvel. But I'm gonna be more of a collector. Let's just say I'm gonna be a collector of this set, not necessarily a player of this set. Or at least I'm not a Mark player, so I'm more interested in the collectability versus the game design mechanics that are coming out of it. But yeah, Prism looks, it looks pretty clear how you play her, right? You're summoning angels and heralds and putting them into your soul and then using them to convert to archangels, I believe, through figments. I think that's the play style for her, is to just get a bunch of angelic allies. There's 8 heralds.
Essentially, they're the Ash.
Archangels. Yeah. They're 1 for 1. You can look them up right now. You can see all 8 heralds.
Yeah.
They already exist in the game. And they correlate 1-to-1 with the archangels that are coming out. And it's very clear to me, like that's the mechanic is gonna be. Yeah. Summoning heralds and converting them to archangels, just as if you would Ashwings into dragons.
Yeah.
Awesome. All sorts of different board states, I guess. So y'all see anything different there? Or?
No, the only thing is a couple people have pointed out Soul Food, which is a card that's not super used historically, but this opens it up because whenever a card with Herald in its name is put into the soul, so with Soul Food, you can put your whole hand into your soul.
Oh, Lord.
And so you could do it 4 times, 4 figments in 1 turn with Soul Food. Yeah. Which is that's a cool mechanic. Makes sense. It definitely was not a played card before, so it's bringing that back. And then the new staff, the Luminaris staff is it's a softer go again. We were talking about that too, how Luminaris is just busted good.
Yeah. I don't think Prism was the problem last time. Luminaris was the problem.
Luminaris definitely made it. Yeah, it was a little too much power.
Well, you're paying 2, right? You're paying 2 to give an angel attack go again. That doesn't seem. Yeah, that seems.
Yeah,
fair
the new staff seems reasonable. The old Luminaris is that was busted because it was just anytime you pitched, I think was a yellow, you gave go again to everything or all the auras or something like that. I can't remember, but it was ridiculous. It was very powerful.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. I was just. Okay, so Invoke Soraya is a yellow card.
Yep.
All the heralds have red, yellow. Is this a deck where you just run all yellows?
Yes.
Is that the play?
Yeah,
it's definitely going to be heavy yellow. Yeah, it's definitely.
I'm trying to look at what Bologna the Archangels do. They have a color or are they neutral?
I don't know if we know yet.
Okay, I'm looking at it. I just don't see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but probably yellow, I'm guessing. Also, Bologna is a light angel as opposed to light illusionist, so Bologna might actually be an angel for Bolton. Bolton might be running an angel deck too of some
sort.
Which
would be super cool.
You're right. I think you're right. I think they're just converting it to where all, obviously that's light, right? So he's got to have a way to summon an angel. Otherwise, why not just make it a light illusionist? There's no benefit unless you make it possible for Bolton to do it.
That's the sign.
Yeah.
Maybe a new weapon for Bolton that does the same thing, or you can put a herald into your soul or something to summon it. I don't know.
Yeah, something. There's got to be some tech for him to work the angel thing.
Yeah,
because I don't know how that works otherwise.
Holy Sabers.
Yeah, Centauri Sabers will handle it.
Yeah.
You think they're going to come out with a new
Centauri Saber?
You think they're coming out with a new Sir Bolton subtext?
No. Well, I don't know. It is a supplemental set. We get a lot of young heroes in these sets. So
Hmm.
maybe we get a new young version where he does something different.
We also
I
got
don't know.
Starvo in these sets,
Yeah, we did get Starvo in these
and we're
sets. So
getting redone characters of at least the first 8 heroes. So
at
I'm
some
thinking we
point,
get
we don't know
yeah,
when.
but this could be a good setup to get our Dorinthia. I'm just
It could be
reminding people.
Dorinthia.
It
I
could
could see
be.
Dorinthia
It could
being a
be.
light Dorinthia in this one
About time.
with
The only
the
thing that's lasted longer than that is not having a draconic Kano.
true. That needs to happen at some point, doesn't it?
Yeah. So
I just feel
you
like
were saying that we're
Warrior needs some
getting
help.
Starvo back. Are you talking about, Tommy, the specialization cards, or are you talking about heroes that you've heard of that are coming out in the set?
Oh no. What I meant is like how we start Starvo was the second iteration of Bravo. James
Okay.
White made
Gotcha.
a comment a while ago saying that the first heroes from Welcome to Wraith and Arcane Rising will get essentially the Starvo treatment
Okay.
in upcoming sets, but we never found out when. And so whenever these supplemental sets, because Starvo came out in a supplemental set, Everfest, we're
Hmm.
thinking that these will probably come out in supplemental sets. And I'm thinking, what
This might
characters
be
make
one.
sense for this one? And I'm thinking, Dorinthia. Bolton also makes sense, but he's not part of the first
Dorinthia,
8.
yeah, he's not. Yeah, he's not part of the first 8. So
Right.
it would. I feel like Dorinthia is the most likely in this set,
Okay.
just
If we
based
get
on
one, but we may
the
not get
look.
one. Yeah.
It's true. Yeah, we don't know when we're
It
getting
makes
those.
total sense though, because supplemental sets you don't have to worry about balance so much in terms of like the draftability of the set.
Yeah.
So you
Right.
can kind of pull out some new things that they shake up the meta, they shake up the world of the game. But if they're all young heroes, they're not really that important on it. Like, no offense to anybody who plays Blitz, but like it's clear to me that LSS is true, like most support is behind the CC format with
Yeah.
their
Oh,
events and their
absolutely.
competitive
But
scene.
they
But they
definitely
care about Blitz a
try.
lot.
Yeah, and they definitely try a lot of things, and you can see them
Yeah,
trying a lot of things in Blitz
exactly. It's kind of
S-
their
with all the
It
young
might be their
heroes.
playground.
Yeah.
Speaking of wild rumors, I think you heard a rumor about some new Fable coming out.
Yeah, E-Strike. Could
Where'd
you
you hear this?
imagine? Twitter, Reddit, a couple different
Everyone's
places.
just
It's
talking
just
about it. It's just made
general
up.
community rumor nonsense. Yeah. I don't know. I think it'd be pretty cool. It would continue like because we got Command and Conquer and Dynasty, and this is a
Mhm.
supplemental set. And maybe they're trying to step away from because the fables aren't reprinted doing because of the reprint policy. Like they're not even printed in the history packs.
Mhm.
That having mechanically unique fables in every set may not be the best design decision moving forward. And so you have like Command and Conquer and just these very key, very lovable fan favorite competitive cards and make them the chase cards.
Yeah.
Just a new rarity version. But then is that kind of like a loop that Magic has gotten and pushed themselves in the farthest degree of when we go to list a Magic card, it's the borderless, the full art, the
Mhm.
completed, like there's like 7 different variants of the same card, and every time you incorporate a new higher rarity version of a card, what does that do to the lesser versions? So like if you look at the early Welcome to Wraith, Arcane Rising, Crucible of War, the cards that the max rarity is rainbow, they can be pretty expensive
Mhm.
because there just isn't another version of them.
Yeah.
And then,
But
so is that something that is like the Fable Command and Conquer holding back
the
WTR
price increases?
Rainbow?
No.
Yeah.
No, it isn't. It didn't. It didn't
And
reduce
that
the prices
and
at
that
all.
can be your answer. I was just
Yeah. No, no.
launching a
I mean, it's
conversation.
yeah. No, no, no. It's an interesting thought, and maybe over time it will be. Because you have to have the set out for a while. You have to have them pulled. You have to have the supply in there. And it does give a higher tier chase. That's for sure. I mean, it's an expensive card to get
Yeah.
the full art. I don't know. I think E-Strike's a good guess based on the art though, because it's like a god figure throwing a bolt into something, like a lightning bolt into
Right.
something, which kind of fits the whole light theme. They could do it in like a gold style, almost like Arc Light Sentinel,
Mhm.
that whole look, and still call it E-Strike. That'd be kind of cool.
That'd be cool. I think it's a good idea. Also, the landmarks have come out of draftable sets. They haven't come out of supplemental sets.
Right.
So part of me like really wanted to see like a monastery location, but it doesn't make sense to come out in a draftable set,
That would
especially
be
now that
super
they've
cool.
dropped all these specializations for like every hero that exists,
Yeah.
or at least the ones that seem to be involved with this conflict of the war on Monarch idea, Tales of Aria and the Monarch,
Yeah.
Solanians.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I think it's cool. I think it'd be really cool. I just don't think that you were talking about the impact of the pricing on the card. I just don't think it's there's enough of them being printed to make an impact on the fact that all these players want 3 copies of this card in their decks.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it just can't. It's just not like. While yes, I mean, I just recently purchased a Rainbow Foil E-Strike, Rainbow Foil Art of War, and I have a Rainbow Foil CNC because I wanted all 3 of the Rainbow Foils because, like you said, they're to me those will always be more collectible than the 10th or 11th
it
or 12th
doesn't change
sets
any
stable.
of it doesn't change any of the collectability
Yeah.
of them. But what I'm saying is like this is kind of a middle ground to like I don't want to see it go too far down that road and then we have 7 different variations of the same card. You know what I mean? Like I understand the alt chase rare versions, but we're also going to be getting just a ton of what am I trying to say?
Are you talking about just the different types? Like this set seems almost to have, in my opinion, almost too much collectibility.
Yeah,
I mean, there's
exactly.
just too many
Yeah.
chase cards.
So when
And
that whole when everything's special nothing is kind of
I'm very much on that boat of thinking when it comes to these sets. Like I opened another product for a different game recently, and there were only 3 rainbow foils in the entire box. And while a part of me was like, "Dang, that's hard," but then I thought about it, I was like, "You know what? That means that every one that I get of a high rarity is like extremely special."
yeah.
Versus, and again, I think this set's gonna be really cool. I think people are gonna love opening it. I think there's gonna be some amazing cards coming out of it. But let's think about it. We have marvels, like I'm assuming angels and or demons.
Yeah.
We have the sketch cards. We have the fable. We have
The sketch cards
I'm
are a whole nother
assuming some sort of new marvel treatment, maybe outside of an angel or Avion weapon. We're gonna have cold foils. I mean,
Extended art.
What else am I missing?
Extended art.
extended art.
E-Strike potentially.
And maybe a special version like the Lake with the Fox, Chunk Lake Frigid with the Fox,
Yeah, an
special
alternate art.
edition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the reverse rewind.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they throw a lot of things to chase. And don't forget cold foils.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Which is, what I want to collect. That was my original goal to collect out was the cold foils. Every cold foil, and it's like it's getting harder and harder to do, especially when, like just massive amounts of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is hard to get all of them.
But I want them to stay like relatively important.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think that's key. I mean, I think just as much as the game grows, it still needs its collectors. It still needs the investors to keep the game growing and pushing. And
I heard another rumor from a pretty decent source in this space with LSS that there's a chance that since we know surgical extraction is going to be short printed in this set to make up for Dynasty's like mistake print. I've heard rumors that Glistening Steelblade was going to be reprinted as the other half of that short print slot to make up that Majestic slot total. And I think that would be pretty cool if they did it, because I don't like the idea of such a powerful Dory card being in a Classic Battles 2-man constructed box that people have to break open just to get a card.
Yep.
And it does make sense price-wise, too, based on what the Surgical and Glistening are on TCG Player and stuff. That kind of makes sense. That I don't know. There's like other reasons that they said, but it's just it kind of does make sense to me that could be a possibility. And imagine getting like a rainbow foil one of those, right?
Yeah,
it's gonna be like super
so,
rare.
And that's the other thing. John and I have actually talked about that hypothetical. I think it was in our like Talk Dory Fab Watch video, but we were discussing because the Surgical Extraction reprint is going to have the Dynasty symbols, like the DYN on the bottom. If they reprint Glistening, will it have the DVR? Or will it have
DTD?
I hope it's DTD. I mean,
because
then it will be a short printed version of that card.
Yeah,
so we'll have as opposed to Extraction, will now. Yeah, exactly. It will be a second of another rarity, another chase.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could just be
Why
then
not?
just another
It fits
card
their
in a
style
set.
already
Yeah.
with this set.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm hearing here? Light Dory confirmed. You heard it here first, folks. Light Dory
That's
is
what I'm saying.
confirmed.
Light Dory confirmed, and you're giving her Glistening Steel Blade, which everybody's
See,
running
the
anyway.
scariest thing is, what if Glistening is the
Pack.
Fable? If Glistening Steel Blade's the Fable, I'm in trouble, John.
Oh no.
No, there's no chance. There's no chance.
Yeah, yeah, they wouldn't do a card like
I
that.
would need a playset of that. That would be
Yeah,
bad.
exactly. My 3 Glistening Steel Blades for $1,200. Then we'd
Yeah.
have to go back down that dumb conversation about the accessibility of the game and all that. I
everyone
want to
would
avoid
do
that as
that.
long as I can.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. Both of those cards are speed bumps in the accessibility price of those classes, because they are, like, if you're playing an assassin, most of the time you're going to want 3 surgical extraction. The card is just that good. And then when you're playing Dory, if you're playing Dawnblade, which you probably are, you want 3 Glistening Steel Blades.
Well, here's a question for you, guy. And like, do you think that these so as we go, LSS is going to create, I'm assuming, more and more introductory to style products.
Yeah.
Do you think that they should be like competitive legal cards in them? Like, they should be.
Yeah.
So they have to constantly factor that in.
Because
I don't think, from a business perspective, though, that LSS would ever want people to purchase their Learn to Play kit with the intent of cracking it open just to get one card out of it to put into their deck.
No, and that's
feel
why
like that's
you
blasphemous
reprinted
still.
it. That's why you reprinted it in Dust Till Dawn. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, it's maybe they didn't think it was going to be as powerful as it is, but also Dory's not really that big in the meta and not that represented. Maybe this is why, but even if she was more represented, it hasn't really been her time yet.
That's an interesting question, because I think on the one hand, having a special chase card in there ensures sales volume, which on a product like that, and maybe they only do it for the first one because they really weren't sure how it would be received. I could see a business decision around that, basically ensuring that they actually move a little bit, even if it ends up being a flop of a product, they'll move just for the card. And then once you get to a point where you're comfortable with the market and all that stuff, you say, okay, now let's reprint, a bunch out there so that people have access to the card, because they've always wanted that as a primary thing. People have access to the cards, right? But it's a good question. I wonder if they would do it again in a second set, and because it does create a little bit of a drive for the product. I honestly enjoyed the product as is, and I was playing well before it came out. So, but I took it and taught my sister how to play on it. And it's like, and it was fun for that, and it was flavorful, and it was something new for me as someone who had played before, because there's new cards in there, and something new for her because she'd never played at all, right? So I think there's some value in that, outside of just like you said, making people want to grab it to crack it open for the one card. But yeah, it's a good question. I'm curious what they do with the next one.
Yeah, but I think it's important to keep the cards in them legal, so that when you get those new players that go and buy that and they have their blitz decks, they can go to an event and they can play with it, opposed to showing up and being told, "Oh, you can't play with those cards."
That's a great point.
It's like, what do you mean I can't play with these cards?
Although we have seen that happen in the past. What was it? Was it Drone of Brutality or Seize Agony? Whatever it was that was banned in the Blitz deck.
Yes.
Which was sad, because people buy it off the shelf assuming they can play their Blitz Knight, and then they're like, "Yeah, you can't play that deck. It's not legal."
Yeah.
As built. And that was not that long after those were common Blitz decks. Like, they were the standard ones at that time. So that was a tough thing. I remember seeing on Reddit multiple people being like, "I went to the store, I bought this, and then I was told I couldn't play with it at my Blitz event, and I was very upset." It's like, that is understandable to be upset, because it looks like a product you can play with, and you can't.
Yeah,
so,
I'd probably pull them off my shelf if I was an LGS owner, honestly.
That would be smart. But you can still learn on them. There's still value there. It's just, and I still like the Blitz decks. I'll play them as is. I don't care at a kitchen table. You can play broken deck. It's fine.
Yeah.
None of them are broken except Bolton.
No, I think Chain was pretty good, actually. That Blitz deck.
It was.
If I recall.
It was.
So you could have a banned product, like a banned or a non-legal, separate Classic Battles product. You know what I mean? With a special card, and they could do it just that way.
I feel like that's the wrong way to go, though. I feel like
I'm
you
just
want.
saying. I'm just saying it's happened before, so
Oh
it's
yeah,
not out of
yeah.
the realm of
But I
possibility.
think that was a different time, and that's not something that they were planning on happening.
That's
And
true.
now we're in a better spot. I think.
Are
They
y'all
will make
excited to
mistakes
draft
again.
Monarch?
I'm so
Uh,
excited. I actually missed our draft. We drafted it this weekend at our locals, but I missed it.
Oh, nice.
Um, I've not drafted Monarch. I've played Sealed a couple times, but I don't know. It was Monarch Draft was what was out when I first started playing, and I was not comfortable enough drafting the game. Like I played Blitz, I would go to the Blitz locals, but I would skip the draft. And then by the time I was comfortable and wanted to try draft, it was the beginning of Tales of Aria.
Okay.
So I've yet to actually draft Monarch.
well, a lot of those weren't going off because of COVID.
Right.
That's why they're
That too.
reintroducing it, because a lot of people just didn't have an opportunity to play it.
So it is kind of like a new set for a lot of players, because we also had a lot of players hop in Aria, hop in Uprising, hop in and all these and Outsiders even. Like we've had major influx of players in this game, and I bet you most of them probably haven't drafted Monarch. So
No, I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
Yeah, I haven't myself. So
I haven't either. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I kind of want like a spin on it. You know how some people will do 2 of Monarch and then a supplemental pack or something like
Mhm.
that? Now, it adds a little difficulty to it, but I want to get some of the new cards in people's hands to play that day. Like, that's what I want to actually do. It doesn't seem like they're supporting that fully,
I don't
but
think you can with the amount of like outside influence that this set seems to have with all the specializations for heroes that won't even be in Monarch.
yeah.
yeah,
So what
that's
if your
true.
pack has a Majestic for
Well, yeah,
for
actually,
Olden
that
Majestic?
it doesn't make sense. You're right,
And they
because
kind
you're
of
going to
kill
have
it with all that.
representation for all the classes and
You would
probably
have
only a
to
handful of
you would have to
classes.
open up packs and then make custom packs for heroes, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah,
you
you're right.
finish
Yeah,
your
it
draft
wouldn't
with
make sense. I just like the idea of getting the new
I
cards.
think it'd be great too. Like I talked about it before. It's almost like Pokemon does this build-in battle style thing on their
Yeah.
pre-release events where you buy a, and then you get packs. So you get like a little starter deck and you get packs to supplement it to build your own deck with. I think that's a cool idea. I really do wish Fab came out with something like that, especially for like introductory learn to play type situations. But anyway,
Yeah. So it's
yeah,
like half sealed, half Blitz
yeah,
pre-constructed.
half pre-con, half yeah, sealed edition. It's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. So then you could have one of the Monarch characters. So you have Prism, Bolton,
Mhm.
Levia, Chain, and then you build like a 20 card deck out of 30 instead of 30. And then you have 3 packs of Monarch to open.
Yeah,
And then you build your deck with that.
yeah, like that'd be the kind of style.
But it would be you wouldn't know which of the heroes you would get is essentially
Exactly.
how it would
Until
work.
you would know
When you open it. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, it's a sealed box. Like, you don't know. It's
Yeah.
random.
Yeah. That could be
It's
cool.
cool. It's fun. My daughter plays Pokemon.
Yeah.
Got a little bit more experience in that realm now.
Yeah. No, I'm familiar. I've played.
And we're gonna play Lorcana too, if it ever comes out. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of Lorcana, let's jump to that topic.
Yeah, we have a battle between the mouse and Upper Deck.
The mouse and Upper Deck.
Really, it's Ravensburg. And so what we have here is Upper Deck came out with a statement saying that, Lorcana was built on a game that they paid Miller to build, and he built for another game that was called, what was it? Ichor?
Rush of Ichor.
Rush of Ichor. And that game obviously has not come to light, I don't think. And then he went to Ravensburger and built Lorcana, which is now that we know how the game plays, it looks like it's the same game or close enough to the same game that Upper Deck is willing to take them to court over it, which is a pretty big deal.
That is crazy.
I mean, I guess in the US you're allowed to file a lawsuit even if you don't theoretically have a real case. That could still get thrown out. But everything I'm reading actually makes me think Upper Deck does have a case that could negatively impact Lorcana's ability to operate their business as they want. Because they're saying that they're talking about the idea that Miller didn't disclose the fact that he was actually going over to Ravensburger
Right.
at the time that he was still working on it. So therefore, he had confidential, intellectual property, and that's obviously a conflict of interest that he didn't disclose, which is kind of a big problem. I'm sure that they have their employees sign some sort of NDA type
Yeah.
thing where they, you can't discuss anything that you're working on. All of the material is the company's property. You can't expose it and, share it, blah, 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 distribute it. And if he did do that, I mean, that's going to be rough. Of course, none of this will have to be proven in court.
Right.
It does sound like, now the game mechanics, like, I'll be honest, I don't know. That seems like a stretch to me because all these games share some sort of mechanic that seems
Yeah.
very similar to me.
Right. Exactly.
I think they're just
Nothing's
lumping
branded.
as many things into it as they can for a settlement. Personally, I think they just want to have a settlement or a royalty set up where they can get something from the release. Because
Absolutely. And I don't think they're looking to stop it from coming out. I think they're just trying to get some money out of it. But
I thought they filed for was it injunctive relief to pause the release.
yes.
they
But
did, because they're also claiming that they were injured because they were trying to release this whole Rush of Icor game, and that they can't do it now because they have a competitor that was from their stolen property.
right.
Yeah.
That is now that they have to compete against, that they shouldn't have to compete against. So there are some damages that they're claiming as well.
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
pretty wild. Like,
Yeah, that's gonna be wild to see play out in court and how that actually if it goes all the way. Because I mean, they have to have something pretty damning, or you don't take on Disney. Like
Right.
that's such a move. I
Now,
know
do you think Disney will
Ravensburger's
get
like
involved? Because they're Ravensburger's contracted by Disney.
they're
well,
taking on Ravensburger.
yeah, it's true, but it's still Disney's property now, right? I
Right.
mean, it's their
And it
IP,
has their
it's
name on it.
their name
The
next to it,
headlines
right?
will say Disney
Disney,
TCG.
yeah. I mean, it impacts them.
Yeah.
I would be surprised if they didn't step up to the plate on it. I mean, I suppose they.
Give 'em-
At least
could.
lend them their lawyers or
I
something.
was gonna say, give them access to legal
Yeah.
counsel. Or something.
Yeah, that's a
Probably
good question though.
possible.
But either way, like you're still threatening Disney's good character, and Disney's
Yeah.
pretty serious about how they appear in the world, right? So appearing as some company that worked for you stole IP from another company is not something they want.
No.
So I don't know. We'll have to see how it plays out.
I mean, at first I was thinking it was just a quick little frivolous lawsuit play to get something out of it. The more I'm learning about it, the more I'm going to like, oh man, they might actually have a point here. And they're documenting. They have documentation of stuff.
Oh,
Times that
absolutely.
people worked for them, times that they didn't, et cetera, and like when things were developed. And um, it seems like they have in Ravensburger. Like, I'm not negative about Lorcana, because again, I'm going to play with my daughter when it
Yeah.
comes out. I'm going to buy starter decks and all that stuff, but Ravensburger, for me, is known for making puzzles and board games. Really high
Yeah.
quality puzzles and
Right.
stuff, but not TCGs. Upper Deck actually is known for some TCGs, like the World of Warcraft TCG, Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah.
There's some big names in their portfolio of TCGs. If I were to side with anybody stealing somebody's property, I would probably agree with Upper Deck, just based off the fact that they actually have developed
It's what they
TCGs
do,
before, and
yeah.
as far as I know, Ravensburger never has. So I think Lorcana is one of those games that's coming out. It's going to appeal to a lot of people. It's going to sell massively. And then it's going to be played more like a board game. Like, we've got these cards, let's go play with our friends or whatever every now and then. I don't think it's going to be living for a long, 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 long time in the future. That's just my take. But there's definitely a lot at stake with this lawsuit, because this thing is going to be a massive success when it does release.
Yeah, and they are planning on still releasing, because Ravensburger put out a statement saying, "We at Ravensburger stand behind the integrity of our team and the originality of our products. The baseless claims filed this week are entirely without merit, and we look forward to providing this in due time. In the meanwhile, our focus continues to be on developing and launching a fantastic game in August."
Sure, but then the filing went to court to make them stop the release. So
Yeah.
it's up to a judge to decide whether to stop the release. I don't know what the time limit is on that, unless the judge already ruled they could continue with it. But
I don't know.
I doubt it, because it was so recent. Usually
Yeah.
these things take a while. It is interesting though. I just did a quick Google because I wanted to see how closely Disney was tied to this lawsuit, and literally every article says Disney's card game is being sued. And I saw one that says
their brand is definitely nobody knows who Ravensburger is.
Yeah. So I was like,
They're getting. Gotta remember, they're getting clicks.
Exactly.
They're trying to get clicks.
That's the problem. Big brand like Disney, even tangentially associated, is going to get pulled into this. So
Well, it says the number of complaints include breach of contract, unfair business practices, and fraud. That Miller was hired to work as a lead designer, like you alluded to earlier, and that he was in control of those. I mean, and then they go into the details about how it was quite literally the same mechanics. It kind of made me think too, because Grand Archive actually has a very similar mechanic with the idea of taking cards from your hand and putting them face down so you can play other cards as a resource and stuff. So I thought that was kind of funny. It's like I could name another game that could probably fall into this lawsuit too. But
put it into your memory.
Yeah, but it's kind of interesting. But again, I've never. Have y'all ever heard of? I mean, I haven't been in TCGs forever, but have y'all ever heard of another TCG getting sued because of its mechanics being very, very similar to another game that was trying to release relatively soon?
I want to say Magic at one point went to court over tap. I feel like that's a thing. I could be wrong, but I recall people talking about it. I wasn't in Magic at the time, but there's something about people using that's why everyone says refresh and awaken, and they all have different names for it because they eventually like copyrighted tapping a card as their own thing.
Okay.
So,
like resting,
and they all have a different name now for it, right? Exhaust,
exactly.
They definitely do.
Yeah. But no, in general, no. It's not something you can usually get away with because everything's kind of derivative in the space.
Yeah. Turn to its side. I wouldn't put past WotC suing somebody over something.
Yeah, I think this was actually, I'm not sure what time frame that was. I wonder. I'm actually curious when that was. Wonder if I can find it.
Sounds like it's probably around like Pokemon time, if I had to guess.
Probably, yeah.
It had to be a bigger, because also let's think about it this way. The reason I brought up the success of what I expect this Lorcana game to be is, let's be real. If a really unknown game that was going to be fly by night, it was going to sell like a first edition box, and then they were just going to disappear off the shelves and nobody would care, Upper Deck wouldn't take the time to sue them, right? They're doing it because they know it's going to be a multi-million-dollar success, if not more, and they want a piece of that pie. And again, I think there's probably a lot of games that have come out with very similar mechanics, and people are like, well, why? People have discredited this lawsuit, saying, well, if that's the case, why aren't all these other people sued for similar mechanics? Because they don't have any money. Like,
right?
Yeah,
they're not
worth it.
Yeah.
Yep. Good point.
You sue the massive company, before Ravensburg is a massive company. It's not a joke. So you sue them before you go see, what is it, Weaves of the Shore, which people that make Grand Archive. Like, does that really sound like a group of people that has trillions of dollars to sue?
No. Yeah, that game is fun though. John and I like
it. Is fun. I have played it. I will admit.
Yeah, that one's fun. We have the starter decks.
Yeah, that's what I got. Starter deck and like a couple booster boxes. Cracked them open.
Nice. Yeah, the rainbows in there, those are rare.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, you only get 3 per box, and I think I got like a super rare foil in my first box. I was like, I didn't realize it at the time until I started like scouring the internet to see what it was worth and checking. I was like, oh my gosh, there's like not that many of these available.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It's true.
But what else is rare and not much available is Lord of the Rings Magic is crazy.
Yes, it is.
The collector boxes, they're hitting $400 before tax.
I don't know if I would ever buy one of those. I just don't know, man. It just.
First off, are you a Lord of the Rings fan at all?
Yes, I'm a huge sci-fi, fantasy, medieval fan. I'm a geek when it comes out. I love everything Lord of the Rings. I love all the Hobbit. I read all the books. I have all of the books. I haven't read them all, but I have like every one of Tolkien's books. Like, yes.
Still not for you. Still not.
I think this set looks really cool. Okay, so I got this risk aversion part of me in my life from investing so long.
Yeah.
When something seems too good to be true and everybody's talking about it and loves it and hypes it, I run away with like my house is on fire and get the hell out of there. I don't know what it is. I hate it. I don't care if I miss out on everything. It was exactly what happened with Arcanite Shard. like whatever 3 months ago when everybody was excited because Dusk Till Dawn was spoiled and everybody was guessing that Chain was going to come back as badass, so or Viscerai or whatever, and like so Arcanine Shard went from like 350 to 700. I was like, nah, get away from me. I don't want anything. I don't even want to look at that card. It's I don't want to touch it. You know, it's back down to 500, right? Hindsight now, but whenever I see everybody onto something, I get away from it as fast as I possibly can.
That's smart. It's a good way to invest.
Yeah. When my parents were asking me how to get into Bitcoin, I sold a lot at $60,000 a coin. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
That was my red flag. Oh my god,
My
they don't even know
parents are
what the
asking.
word means. Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
You don't want the collector box. You're not in it for the One Ring. You're not putting up a bounty of $1 million, huh?
Well, I might put up the bounty because I know that I could just turn around and offer that. If I got the card, I could just turn around and offer it to the next schmuck who's willing to pay more. No, I'm not. Are you into it? Are you gonna be? How much are you gonna be buying and cracking?
Me personally,
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah.
I'm not cracking any. I don't crack collector
No.
boxes. I only collect sealed.
Okay, so you're gonna just hold on to it?
Yeah, I'm gonna get a box and put it on the shelf, and then I'll sell the box in 5 years, whatever.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Tommy,
What?
what about you?
I cut back almost all of it. So I'm getting the one collector box for the shelf. Got a good price on it. And then the starter set, the like literally $20 starter set to just play with friends. Because I have friends that I see a couple times a year and they're all Magic fans, but not, they know how to, they're board game fans, but know how to play Magic. And so having like very simplified 2 even decks is just fun to have laying around because we can just throw cards, because I don't have time to like teach them Flesh and Blood or then any of the new card games I'm playing. They just, because I only see them a couple times, they're not, cards aren't really a big thing in their life, but they enjoy when they come to see me to play cards. So we usually play Magic because we both already know how to play. And having Lord of the Rings themed decks just seems like the perfect bonus because I'm a giant Lord of the Rings nerd. And then I'm getting the one gift bundle to crack. And then just because I was able to get it for, it's like the special gift bundle with the collector pack and the Gollum 4-card art falling into Mount Doom extended thing.
I think that's the one I was interested in. There were like 2 products that I was like, I could probably do that. They're making commander decks too, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So I think that'd be kind of cool to own a Gandalf commander deck. You know?
Yeah. The commander decks, I'm getting one of each just to keep as a set. Like I got the Warhammer commander decks.
Yeah.
Just to keep as like a set.
To play that way.
That way. And then so when we have Commander Night, it's like, do we want to play Warhammer? Do we want to play Lord of the Rings? I know a lot of diehard Magic people hate the concept of that, but I think it's pretty cool.
I like them in like a cluster. Like I like them in theme. That's right. I'm 100% fine.
Yeah.
I think it's a little strange. Like when you had your Walking Dead commander into my Tulane or whatever it was that I was playing at the time. Yeah. And like Michonne's out doing all this nasty zombie stuff. It's like, what? This is sort of okay. It's very odd. It breaks the theme.
Yeah. So basically the commander decks and the starter decks for actually playing with friends, locally, kitchen table, and then gift bundle just to open and have fun, and then the collector box for the shelf.
Cool. Yeah. And I'm not saying they're not good long-term investments.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I'm willing to miss out on some opportunities just because of the risk aversion and some of it. Like, nah, I'm good.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. We also have access to distros, so wholesale pricing makes it a little bit easier to take that,
to stomach
that leap. Yeah. Because it will come down. Well, it may not, it depends, but presumably it will come down because there's so many people interested in, too many people overbuying, etc. And then if it comes down, it will come down to some wholesale plus price, right? Because that's how stores can move it. So
right.
I mean, what do y'all think though about the idea, like the One Ring? Do you think it's something that you think that most of the people buying the product are going to have the intent of opening it, searching for the One Ring, or are most people going to be buying the product going, I'm going to hoard this in my closets until the prices get to double and then I'm going to start offloading some?
So here's the thing. I think people in TCG space like us, we would sit on it, right? Because that'd just be that. At least most of the people I know that are seriously into it collect boxes and put them on a shelf, right? On the other side of it, I know people that are Lord of the Ring fans and Magic fans that literally look at the collector box like a lottery ticket.
Yeah.
They're like, I have money burning a hole in my pocket. I want to crack something crazy. I like Lord of the Rings, and who knows, maybe I'll make $1 million. Like that's literally the thought process.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people will be opening it, trying to get the ring, but the reality is it's probably going to be opened by Star City Games or something, like because they open so many more boxes than anyone else for the singles. So,
But I
You think
also
they're going to
saw,
do like a UF chip tracking so they know exactly where in the world it is at what time?
oh, I don't think so.
They're just going to print it and let it go out into the world?
I assume, but I don't know. Like, I honestly have no idea how Wizards does this sort of thing. You've never done anything quite like this before.
I'm curious. I just personally am curious to see. Like, I just feel like they're going. I don't know. They're gonna.
If it
I believe that they're
disappears,
going to want to track it.
yeah, if it disappears, it
authenticity,
never
they're
shows
thinking-
up. Yeah, that would definitely make everyone insane if it never shows up. Like we're 8
Yeah.
months past release, and people are like, "Where's the One Ring?" Like,
But Wizards can be like, "Oh yeah, it's still out there."
yeah, it's out there somewhere. I'll be like, "It's probably on my shelf." Sorry, guys.
there was a Reddit post this weekend that had my same thought process, that did Wizards specifically put it in the gift bundle, in one of the random gift bundles that only have one collector pack in it. One, because it might be a little safer because of the extra packaging.
You can definitely control it,
Two,
right?
You can control it, and because it comes out a couple weeks after the set. So you know that the One Ring won't be pulled in the first couple weeks. Or did they just blind to it? Because we don't know the process of how collector packs
No, we have
get in
no
the gift
idea.
bundle compared to going in the.
Was that picture real? Where there was a picture on Twitter where somebody was holding
Yeah.
the One Ring?
Yeah,
Was
that was
a
from
real
them.
card?
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
from them. That was it.
That was it. So
Yeah.
then we 100% know they know exactly what pack it's going.
Well, we don't know that for sure.
Right?
We know we put it in because they could have put it into. I don't know if you've seen the packing machines, but they're like huge, sleeves
Yeah, they
of
got like
cards.
hoppers on them.
Yeah. You just stick one of the hoppers in there randomly and drop it in. I mean, theoretically, they could do it that way.
But it's
Do
not
they?
random. A computer knows exactly what point and how many cards it's distributing and how many packs. I mean, they're designed that way because
Sure.
that's how they can tell you the efficiency of the output. I'm just saying.
So it isn't random, but it's effectively random because so one hopper is like your Majestics, one hopper is your Full Arts, one hopper's that's how you get the pack correlation, all that stuff, right? So if you have a human inserted into the middle of one of those hopper sleeves that has 10,000 cards in it that are also not the same one card, right? They're randomized which one it is that hits that slot.
Yeah.
It's going to be lost to the process. I don't think they track individual cards through that whole process. I could be wrong. I mean, I haven't worked in a factory that does this, so I could be wrong. Maybe they know every card and which pack it's in, but it feels like an excessive use of information.
I don't know. I write software, and
Yeah.
I don't know why somebody would intentionally write software that didn't know what it was doing. But it would be, I don't know. I wonder how much security was around that person or system placing it. I mean, anyway. You don't want to damage it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
What if
You
it
don't
gets
want to damage
chipped
it
in the hopper?
Yeah,
you pull the one
that
of
is a
one
factor.
and it's
the
chipped.
Pinkertons are all
Through
like
the mechanical
the facility.
process,
You better put it in the hopper. If you put it in your pocket, we're taking you down, man.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a good question. I don't know. I don't know how they handled it. Where they hand pack a particular pack though? Like what? On the other side of it sounds just as insane. Hand packing a pack.
Why wouldn't you? Nobody's gonna care about any card in that pack except the One Ring. So you could just literally put tokens in there with that One Ring and call it a day.
That seems like far more of a security risk, right? Because then you have someone that knows exactly what pack it's in, and then they're putting the pack in a bundle, and they know exactly what bundle it's in. That is the way somebody's cousin's brother is the one that buys the box, and then they get sued. Because that's a big no-no. That actually, there are laws around that.
I think Tommy's right there. I'm gonna go with Tommy's theory that it's going to be in a collector's box because they want somebody to buy it for somebody else or something. Like, here you go, here's a gift
the
bundle.
bundles, yeah.
Yeah, and then it's got the one pack in it, and it's like this amazing moment for
if they
What if
do
the
that,
person that gets it has no freaking idea because they don't look at Twitter or like,
exactly,
and they're just like riffle shuffling it and like it's like an 8-year-old kid and dude, it can be so funny. This can be so funny.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. It's definitely possible.
Jeez, he just throws it out.
Just never gets found.
I mean, it's most likely to never get found. Let's be honest. It's most likely to never get found than to be found. I think personally, because not every card in Flesh and Blood is opened. Like
for sure. Yeah. There's always a lot more cards
not every
out
card
there.
in Magic is opened.
Exactly. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. It'll be something new and interesting. Which is the point. That is the point. They built the hype. That's all it is. It's a piece of cardboard that cost them 55 cents to produce, probably, and they got a ton of free press because of it.
Yeah, I was gonna go a little harder on Lord of the Rings, but then they announced the special edition collector box that comes out in November, and I was just like, yeah, no, there's gonna be a bazillion of these cards out and singles, and I will buy a binder, and then I will buy the singles of each one and make a very pretty art binder. But I'm not going to be opening and ripping packs of Lord of the Rings because the singles are going to be so cheap, and you're basically
a lot
just
of them will
paying. You're just paying for
opening.
Yeah.
Opening.
Yep.
Yeah. For that chance.
That lotto ticket. That's all it is. Some people.
It's appealing to people, yeah, for sure. I mean, not me.
Me neither. So I don't open anything.
I'll go buy a case or two of Flesh and Blood.
That's right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
The same price as that one box. And
I'll be
more
insane.
happy.
It's insane.
Like, I mean, okay, we have so nobody's lost any money yet on it, so it's all positive excitement, hope, dreams. Wait for the first person who takes out a credit card, puts $2,500 of collector's boxes, and gets nothing that they can even resell because nobody's buying the singles, like you said, because they're just mass plenty and everybody's opening it. And then that person is sitting there looking at that bill going, oh man, it's just eating me alive.
Exactly.
Like, how terrible is that going to... Anyway, not to go into swinging a totally negative view, but that's why I don't chase this crap.
No, agreed. It is a very risky world, and unfortunately, there's a lot of people that don't have, self-control when it comes to this sort of stuff. So,
and that's why they made a collector. Yeah, and that's why they made a collector box for the Doctor Who one that doesn't even have a draftable set. There's just collector boxes and the commander boxes. That's it.
I wonder. I kind of think that's okay. I think that's how they should do these. Honestly,
you think just collector and just
okay? That's not true because I think thematic draft is cool too if they do it well. But
draft boxes are my favorite boxes because
you're not getting one of Lord of the Rings. Why?
Oh, I will when they're much cheaper.
Oh, I see. Post big release period. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, they'll come down.
Oh, I plan on at least storing a case of the draft boxes.
But Tommy, what if you never can because they're already sold out?
Then I missed it. Oh well.
I was trying to induce FOMO.
That really is exactly. You know how many times in my life I've just said I've missed it, and sometimes it's a gut punch because it was staring you right in the face as a huge opportunity. But you know what?
But you probably
the greatest thing about this, I'm in the United States. At least I have the freedom to make these decisions and try things and learn from them and try something else.
Right.
For me, it's like there's a million other opportunities that I can just go find.
Right.
Yeah. That's my saying. Yeah, I do invest in it for a living, and that's the saying. Anyone that's like, "Oh, we could have done this deal," I'm like, "There's always another deal."
Yep.
Yeah.
There's always another deal with the same return profile out there.
Yeah.
Infinite number of opportunities. Come on.
Yeah.
It's fine. There's no reason to worry about it from a financial standpoint.
Yep.
I mean, they have Lord of the Rings products going from now until November. The draft boxes are not going anywhere.
I do think drafting would be fun. I mean,
I was actually kind of sad when you said you pulled back.
I love the art.
Drafting.
I love the mechanics of the cards. I've seen some cards. I watch a lot of the Magic the Gathering YouTube channels as well, and I've checked it out. And I was like, okay, some of these cards look really cool, and the way the card design matches that character or that moment in the the movies or something. Stories. I'm like, this is cool.
Yeah,
really cool.
Agreed.
I mean, there's a reason
I love
it's been
flavor.
For 30 years.
Yeah,
I love flavor, and frankly, I think I'm sad, Tommy, that you pulled back on the draft box. That was one thing I was looking forward to. I'll do Commander too, but I was like, I was looking forward to drafting that.
We will.
But you're right. Yeah, it will probably just come down and it will be easy to get. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
John, if I bought this, I would treat it just like a stock, dude. I'd have a, I'd buy it at whatever it's at 400. I'd have a listed sale at 600 already. That before I even got it, I'd have it for sale at 600, and I'd have like a stop loss at 250.
Yeah, that's
I'm
yeah.
done. Let
Yeah,
it roll,
no,
however it wants to go.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the way to go. Frankly, it's
Just be done with
it's
it.
interesting game. This TCG market.
Yeah.
It is a great game. Fun.
Yeah. It's certainly interesting.
Cool.
But I don't want to take up more of your time, Riddlerman. If you want to plug your stuff, tell people where they can find you. They should go subscribe to your YouTube channel, follow you on Twitter, anywhere else.
I think you handled it. Yeah, I do a combination of videos and live streams. Most of my stuff is live. I do market, box breaks, general chats and conversations like this one. Yeah, YouTube, Twitch, Kick, Twitter. I stream to all those things all the time.
Cool. Links will be in the description.
Yeah, thanks, appreciate it. I had a blast too, guys. Thanks for having me on, and
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's great to get to know y'all and talk to y'all finally.
This
Yeah, it
was
was a
lot
great
of fun.
conversation.
This was
A lot of fun. Love it.
Cool. We'll have to have you back.
My
So-
pleasure.
Until next week, we will catch you guys later.
Have a good one.